one of the first programs that we are attending. Hopefully, in the next following year, we'll be having many more such programs coming up, even from the family, to commemorate the occasion. Thank you so much, Tirtha, for writing this wonderful book, Ishqnama, and also for facilitating my presence here through Rishmi. I'm not very well prepared in my speech for today because I'm very busy, also not very well health-wise. I don't think I'll be able to talk for too long, but I have written down a few points just because I don't want to miss on them. I'll read them and maybe I will be able to say something different from others. Firstly, we have an impression which was created by the British about Wajid Shah, and we have been living with it for the last 1.5 centuries. There were writers who were writing, who were opinionated through the British mindset, and it was the duty of others who did not agree with the British, which majority of us did. That's why we got our freedom. And also of the writers who were writing from their own research and through meeting people around that time. I'm talking about 100 years maybe earlier. Around that time when my father was born, and when he realized that a lot of misconception has been spread about Wajid Shah, what he actually was and what people think about him through wrong misconceptions. So that was when my father took up the task of doing intense research on Wajid Shah, visiting from the smallest of libraries across India, not only Calcutta or Lucknow or Hyderabad, Patna, but he has not left any stone unturned where he could unearth the real Wajid Shah, which people don't know about. Basically, it was about the creative part of Wajid Shah's character, his contributions in literature, his contributions in culture, his contributions in Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb and the communal harmony, which was at its peak during the era of Wajid Shah. So I will just read out a few lines that I have noted down. Wajid Shah is a name in history which brings to the mind an image of a king who is busy in his personal life and who does not care about anything going on in his kingdom. This was the excuse spread by the British to justify their claim for the takeover of the state of Awadh. If you believe in the above thought, then please follow what I am going to say now about the king of Awadh. My father, Dr. Kadir Mirza, who happens to be the great-grandson of Wajid Shah and Begum Mahal, has done ample research on his grandfather, which brings to light the real king of Awadh. I'm not a historian like him, but I can tell you a few things, starting from the birth of the king on 19th July 1823, which according to my father's research is the real date of his birth, 19th July 1823. His father, King Amjad Ali Khan, chose him to be the heir apparent since he found more qualities in him than his elder brother. Wajid Shah was given the best of education possible at that time, and the young king-to-be was found to be very proficient in Persian and Urdu language. He could translate from Persian to Urdu at a lightning speed. His capabilities in architecture and fine art was remarkable. At the tender age of 18 years, he was writing his Masnavi, poetical, and also taking care of his kingdom by checking the official documents in the morning as the secretary to his father king. For 5 years, he was heir apparent until he became the king in 1847. The first thing he did when he took charge of the throne was the inspection of the Awadh army. Early in the morning, he was seen going for the drills of his soldiers. When the British president came to know of this, he was very annoyed. He said that it is fit for him to employ British troops paid out of the revenue of Awadh. As for his administration, Wajid Shah even had petition boxes put up in his kingdom at various places to know the public opinion and grievances of his subjects. Even this step was discouraged by the British. Then Wajid Shah left a mark to show that he had deep knowledge about the army and administration, and this was in the form of his book called Dastur-e-Wajidi, which many people are not aware of. Due to the treaty of his forefather, Wajid Shah was a king with fetters in his feet. He was very much loved by his subjects even after many years of his rule. We find folklore songs longing for their king who was forced to leave his kingdom to seek justice from the British, which never came. When on the excuse of maladministration, Wajid Shah was dethroned in the year 1856, he decided to leave Lucknow to appeal for his kingdom to the British Parliament in London. With him he took his Queen Mother Malika Vishwar, a son and his brother. He left Lucknow with a very heavy heart, hoping to come back one day, but that day didn't come. On reaching Calcutta, by journeying through land and water, Wajid Shah became sick, and the British agent advised him not to go through the long journey by sea to England. So Wajid Shah stayed back and instead sent his mother and family and few faithful nobles to England. He was staying in Raja Pardwan's Koti in Madhya when the first war of Indian independence, 1857, broke in the country. His most able and energetic queen, Begum Hazrat Mahal, started to lead the revolutionaries in Awadh by placing his son British Fatima on the throne. Seeing this development, Wajid Shah was put in Fort William to prevent him from joining the freedom movement in Lucknow. In this confinement, in this lockdown, Wajid Shah made the best use of his time in finishing his previous works and writing new poetry and compositions. He wrote Husn-e-Akhtari, his sorrow, and Behr-e-Mukhtalif, his account of his queens and their sons, and adding to the longest ballad in Urdu literature with 48,115 verses called Sabatul Qulub, and scores of other such poetical verses. After 26 months in Fort William, Wajid Shah was released and the flames of freedom struggle end. But he was not allowed to go back to Lucknow. Instead, he was given a land in Madhya Bhuj to spend the rest of his life. Wajid Shah took this ugly bag in his pride and with his words, "Main jahan jaunga, main saath darya, mere saath darya jayega," he reopened his royal press and began to print his books with figure. अब निशान इश्क कलकत्ते में करना चाहिए, अब निशान इश्क कलकत्ते में करना चाहिए, हुस्न शहर लखनऊ हरदम महकना चाहिए. With a hefty pension of 12 lakh rupees per annum, he began to weave his Lucknow in the new horizon. His subjects in the beginning were just 5,000, and then they swelled up to a population of 40,000. With him came kite makers, cooks, connoisseurs, tailors, poets, artists, dancers, and his whole brand of paraphernalia of Lucknow culture and society. His performing artists and all those who loved him and his music too joined him in the Chota Lucknow that was created by him. Lucknow was the Calcutta was the cultural hub in that period too, and the local elites, the Bhadro, the Zamindars, came in close contact with Wajid Shah when they visited the Darbar Hall in Matyaburj. Wajid Shah established his Lucknow Zoo in Matyaburj with rare animals. He was the first person in the world to keep snakes in the open for visitors to see. Because of this personal zoo, tourists from across the world came to flock Matyaburj. This is just a short description which was penned down in a very short period of 1 hour, 1.5 hours that I could recall and write down. But we all know the impact Wajid Shah has had in West Bengal, especially Calcutta, because of the small Lucknow, the Chota Lucknow that he created in Manzilat. The food culture of Kolkata owes a lot to Wajid Shah because as we all know, when Wajid Shah was in Lucknow, his one meal used to come from 6 different kitchens. But when he recreated Lucknow, his kitchen was limited to just one kitchen, and here there were bawarchis and khansamas who were experimenting, who were trying to create and recreate something new and something different so that monotony of one kind of food was broken. Around the same time, as we all know, our Kolkata biryani is the best biryani in the world. Also because it is very distinct from other biryanis because of the inclusion of potato, and that coincidentally might have happened because none of this is documented, and I don't want to make a false claim that we have a recipe book or something like that, because we come from the royal family and Wajid Shah was not writing recipe books, and we do not belong to the khansamas or the bawarchis. So we can only assume that something like that might have happened because potato was an exotic vegetable during that time in the country, and it was very expensive. Not everybody could afford it. So potato was added as an experiment to the biryani, and it was liked by people. And as my father said, after the death of Wajid Shah, everything was dispersed and there was a lot of unemployment, and his bawarchis and khansamas spread to the city of Kolkata from Manzilat, and they started their own hotels or kitchens from where aloo spread out to the whole city. And today what we have as Kolkata biryani and the potato, the famous potato in the biryani, might have come from there. So Calcutta owes all that to Wajid Shah, apart from the because it's a Shia, like Muslims are divided into 2 major sects, Shias and Sunnis, and the kingdom of our rulers were largely Shias. They constructed imamparas and Shah came to Madhya, the entire Muharram, Azadari, the morning of Imam Hussain, as we all know, started from there in Calcutta, in Madhya. And whenever we go back to Madhya, we can see a glimpse. Even if people who don't know about Wajid Shah, which is very sad, and they visit Madhya, they can very well see that this place is a very secluded, different unit of West Bengal, which speaks a different language, which has a different culture. Even if you get to speak to a rickshawala there or a shopkeeper there, you will find the essence of Lucknowi culture there, the way they do Arab or the way they talk in Urdu. It's very, very distinct, and clearly it is a contribution of Wajid Shah. I must thank Sohini for this beautiful rendition. It gave me goosebumps and it actually transported me back to that era. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you, Rashmi, once again.